If we turn our backs and spit in his face, is God still gonna bless the USA?
A courthouse in Ohio stands in a unique location. Raindrops that fall on the north side of the building go into Lake Ontario and the Gulf of St. Lawrence, while those falling on the south go into the Mississippi River and the Gulf of America. At precisely the point of the peak of the roof, just a gentle puff of wind can determine the destiny of many raindrops. It will make a difference of more than 2,000 miles in their destination. By the smallest deed or the choice of words, we might set in motion influences that could change the course of others' lives here and now and could also affect their eternal destiny. Greetings, patriots. Welcome to God in America, where faith and freedom stand side by side. I'm Perry Greene. We're exploring the biblical roots and timeless truths that shaped our nation and still light its path today. King David was a mixed bag of emotions, like most of us. The Bible describes him as a man after God's own heart, yet he made his share of mistakes. Despite his sins, God did not disqualify him. His heart helped him persevere through difficult times. When David sinned, God told Samuel to go to Jesse's house and anoint the next king. God purposely paraded David's brothers before the prophet, who thought each must be the one. Each was rejected because God views the heart, not the height. Jesse brought his last son, the shepherd boy David, from the flock, and the Lord confirmed him as Saul's successor. David was a shepherd, a poet, a musician, a warrior, and a king. More than achievements on a resume, David's heart was for God. His psalms reflect his heights of joy and depths of despair. He could dance with joy before the Lord and weep with compassion. David trusted God through his highs and lows. He learned a secret during his years of lonely shepherding, that the Lord was with him even when no one else was near. He lived his life for an audience of one, not his contemporaries. When danger threatened the flock, David the shepherd protected the sheep. He ran to the threat, not away from it. When he volunteered to fight Goliath, he convinced Saul with these words: "Your servant used to keep sheep for his father, and when there came a lion or a bear and took a lamb from the flock, I went after him and struck him and delivered it out of his mouth. And if he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Your servant has struck down both lions and bears, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, for he's defied the armies of the living God." And David said, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." We all feel the pressures of our time, especially conscientious men. They feel the need to succeed, provide for their families, maintain integrity, and struggle to survive. Men compose 49% of America's population and 80% of suicides. At times, we feel alone, broke, and hopeless. Yet God is near, and we must not forget him. David and his army had a breaking point at Ziklag. After they had gone to fight their enemies, they returned to their city to find it burned and their families kidnapped by the Amalekites. Observe David's distress in 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 4, and the first part of verse 6. Then David and the people who were with him raised their voices and wept until they had no more strength to weep. David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him because all the people were bitter in soul, each for his sons and daughters. The beautiful picture here is that David had learned to rely on the Lord, not people. The years of isolation with the flocks taught him more than skill with the sling and stone. He discovered that his strength came from his relationship with the Lord. At Ziklag, even his choice soldiers were so discouraged they wanted to kill their leader. Note the end of 1 Samuel 30, verse 6. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. He didn't give up. He didn't kill himself. He acted first by turning to the Lord and then in military strategy to defeat the Amalekites and retrieve the families. When David proceeded with his plans, he did not have the approval or applause of his men. He didn't discuss or argue the issue with them, citing his past achievements. Neither did this great leader throw up his hands in despair in hope that God would supernaturally retrieve the lost souls. He turned to the Lord for direction and then went forward. Our American ancestors had ample reason to surrender and return to the British Empire. They had lost battle after battle. In fact, General Nathaniel Greene stated, "We fight, get beat, rise, and fight again." Yet he and the Continentals persevered and defeated the greatest army on earth. You may have your Ziklag or Bunker Hill incident and want to quit. You may have experienced the loss of a significant relationship, a collapsed career, or the demise of your life's dream. Everything is falling apart and you feel at a loss as to what to do. Do as David did. Turn to the Lord, remembering who your God is and that he will enable you to persevere in the darkest of days. Winston Churchill led Great Britain through the difficult times of World War II. He later told an audience, "Never, never, never give up." Real strength is not in the absence of tears or conflict. It is in choosing to stand after the weeping. Our most significant victories do not come with a crowd watching. They come alone in the presence of the great God who knows the best for us and will equip us to face our giants. Michael Jordan was a legendary basketball star who awed crowds with his skills. He will tell you that those skills did not come naturally, but by hours upon hours of practice, all alone with no crowds cheering him on. There's a crown ahead for each of us who quietly depends on God and plays out his strategy. Well, thanks for listening to God in America today. Stay rooted in Scripture and stand firm for faith and freedom, the twin pillars of God's story in our history. As we close, let's keep the light of heart over height burning.